Welcome. I have a little task for you. And the task is to remember what you did yesterday, from the moment you open your eyes all the way to the evening when you went to bed. And then tell me, how many organizations were you in touch with? Can you make guesses? No problem. Anyone? 50. 100. Does anybody say more? Hundreds. Absolutely. So research suggests that we are in touch with hundreds or even thousands of organizations every single day. It starts when we open our smartphones, social media, we browse through, and then what do? We encounter organizations. We are part of many organizations. And now another question to you. How many of those do you consider beautiful? That's not an actual question. If you maybe you noticed it, and why? Because you might think, how in the world would I be able to understand what beauty in organizations is? Yeah? And that's basically the topic of the talk. It's the main content to try to shift all of our perspective of beauty in organizations. For me, it started like this. I went to the office the other day, like every day basically. I like going there, love my office, and I like the coffee machine, have an espresso there, and then I went into my office and sat down and read the business news. And what happened then was that I came across an article, and this article was praising one firm. We can call it Firm X. And this article was so amazed about this firm, then I was intrigued too. I had developed a very positive predisposition about this firm. I thought, wow, Firm X must be amazing. But since it is research on organizations that I do, I looked a little bit deeper into what it was that this company's success was based on. And then I found out that this company's success was based on producing a product that goes almost directly into the trash bin. So the company is producing something that we use maybe once and then throw it away. And I was intrigued. And what happened then was I wanted to understand more about successful organizations, and I started looking more. And what happened then was that I found a pattern, which was that many of those organizations that claim to make the world a better place actually had only this one overarching goal: to be very profitable, to make money, to be financially successful. This is basically when my espresso was cold already. Yeah, so what I did was I thought, well, we need to change the way we look at organizations. And we need to change the way we look at organizations and find beauty in them. So what happens is that I would prepare the talk, and I had in mind to transfer one concept from the late David Foster Wallace. I don't know if anybody knows him. Anyone here? Yeah. Ah, excellent. Great audience. So basically, he introduced this very nice concept of the natural default setting of humans. And this natural default setting, what he means by that is simply that we tend to look at the world from a very specific angle. It's always the same angle. So we look at organizations always from the same angle. He says that the natural default setting is something that is constantly putting us at the very center of the very universe. It means that everybody else is constantly in our way, which makes sense. I don't know if you had to line up to come in here or to go to the bathroom, but everybody else is constantly in our way. And we hardly question our very natural default setting. And I find this a very beautiful concept to transfer onto how we look at organizations. And why is that? Because we look at organizations always through a very biased kind of lens. We look at organizations always focusing on its financial performance. That's what research suggests, that we are biased in the way we see organizations and firms and companies, and we judge them by the way they are financially profitable. This is a problem, but it's also something that is very natural, Because we were socialized to judge organizations based on their financial performance. It makes sense in a capitalist society, doesn't it? But at the same time, we overlook the very negative outcome that organizations can have and can produce. Organizations can have tremendous impact on the environment. We heard it today already. They can have tremendous impact on humans. Think about the opioid crisis in the United States, just going on, and has been going on for a while. Only in 2022, over 100,000 people died of opioid overdose. And I don't know who is informed in this room about it. Probably some are. And that's basically the outcome of organizations. And you know what? The manager of one of those firms responsible for it was called Manager of the Year. Is that what we want? Hopefully not. I would say this must stop. And therefore, we need to change the way we look at organizations. We need to change our natural default setting. And why is that important? It is important because research suggests that stakeholder pressure is key to transforming the way organizations behave. And who are stakeholders anyway? It is you, and it is me, and everyone outside, okay? So it is important that we try to demand more from organizations. Why is that? Because there are organizations that have such negative implications on humans. Such negative implications on humans that go beyond the thinkable. Just imagine there are large organizations in the United States, and what do? They earn billions of dollars. They earn billions of dollars year after year after year. And what happens is that they employ a large workforce, and a large part of their workforce is only not starving to death because they get state-subsidized food stamps in the United States. Can you imagine this? There is an organization, small startup, highly profitable, and it offers mental health services online. At the very first sight, you might think it's a very good thing, right? Mental health services online. Great. It makes mental health services accessible to the masses. So it works the following way. You chat with a chatbot or with an algorithm, and the algorithm would tell you what to do, and it would tell you how to feel better. The only problem is that this chatbot and the algorithm is trained to always, in the end, suggest to take medication against your depressions or whatever. So what the outcome really is the following. A lot of people get addicted to drugs and medication. The company knows that, but they don't care about it. They don't care about the negative implications their actions have. Why? Because the profits are high. Yeah? It's just collateral damage. It's just humans. It's just our clients. We don't care. There are countless organizations, large organizations, in the year 2023 that haven't even considered making plans for net zero transformations. There are countless organizations in the consumer goods industry, and they don't care about the millions of tons of plastic waste they generate. Some of them haven't even started to make plans on how to change it. And this is wrong, and this must change, and this must stop. And that's why we are here as stakeholders, all of us, to demand more from those organizations. To not just look at them biased and admire and cherish them because they're financially successful. Because that's what we tend to do, at least research says that. So we need to transform the way we look at them. We need to find true beauty in them and not only financial beauty. Our natural default setting needs to shift. And how can it shift? There's some easy ways to do it. I would suggest 3 ways. Number 1, what you can do is you can try to think how this firm earns money. And that's a very simple thing. You look at the product, you look at the service, and you look at how they try to earn their money, how they make profits. Are they trying to maximize their profits, their financial outcomes by all means or not? If yes, then that's already a warning sign. Number two, you can look at how organizations treat their employees. Do they treat them as humans or do they treat them as machines? There are organizations that are constantly trying to optimize their employees. That is a warning sign too. And number three, how do they engage with their communities? Usually organizations are embedded in communities and very often they don't give back. So if they give back, great thing. Then it's already an organization, or there's a tendency that this organization is not only financially successful. So that's basically 3 warning signs. Now you can think, are organizations that focus on those other things, focus on stakeholder success and stakeholder well-being, can they be successful? And the simple reason is, yes, they can. There is research, recent research from American scholars suggesting that organizations that focus on the well-being of their employees can be extremely successful compared to their peers. So even research says and suggests that putting a focus on other stakeholders can be very beneficial. Now, altogether, organizations are some of the most powerful creations humans ever made. They have contributed to the development of culture. They have contributed to the development of science. They have contributed to the development of technology. They even brought us to the moon. They shape the way we work, we interact, the way we live. So organizations have great power, but the greatest power of all is to shape individual and collective action. And we need to harness this action. We need to harness the power organizations have to create a future that is very livable, a future that is equal, a future that is worth living for us and our children. So I would say that we not only change our consumer behavior, we not only change the way we invest in organizations, we not only change the way we behave as members of organizations, but it all starts with the way we look at them. We need to make sure to reset our natural default setting, to find true beauty in them. Yeah? So I would say that we need to look beyond profit, we need to shift perspective, and we need to change our natural default setting. Thank you. Thank you.